Yes, yes. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Can
afternoon.
you hear me?
Yeah, good
Okay.
early. Yep.
I too say hello to Councilman Pete, President Waddy. I see some faces that I may have seen in the community. I am also driving from work from Springfield, and I'm glad to be here to be assistance with the NAACP and the NRM camp.
Excellent. So, uh, President Wadi, if it's okay with you, I'm going to get this thing started. So just a couple of months ago, I was, I attended an NAACP meeting as I often do, but only from time to time. And uh, I noticed that we really didn't have any activity in the health committee, and inquired about that during a meeting. And then I got myself volunteered to chair the committee. And often when you get that, sometimes you feel like, oh my God, so it's gonna, how much time am I able to do, for this purpose, to this effort and give to this effort. To be honest with you, I'm constantly thinking about this stuff. So all I'm doing is just taking the same flow and then moving into this space. And for folks that are, that were specifically, first of all, the entire community is invited to be a part of this, but the people that I specifically reached out to, I know are already involved, already doing things in this direction. And it's exactly because of the kind of energy that Carmen has, and her thoughts about having ideas on how to contribute, that I want to do this, because my thoughts are being multiplied by six here. So um, to begin with, I want to read the vision and mission. Now, we haven't formalized the committee really, in terms of its membership. It was somewhat rotating. We had a whole bunch of different people last time. They all contributed very usefully. I learned a great deal, which I'll share with you later on if we have time. But I want to start putting out agendas that include the vision and mission, because I know that often, and I've been involved with gigantic organizations that talk a big game, and then often we lose the vision and mission in the midst of all the practical operation of the organization. And what I don't want to do is overreach. So I want you know, to sort of bring it back and refocus that the health committee is dedicated to reducing racial and ethnic disparities, sure. Fostering equitable healthcare access, sure. Strengthening community ties and empowering individuals. But what I really want to make clear is that I don't want to put goals out there that are beyond our reach. Like, there are national agendas we'd all like to fix. We don't have the capacity really to filibuster for 22 hours. But we can do stuff here. So um, I just want to read off these key objectives so that you know where I'm coming from. And again, this is open to your improvement or suggestions. To promote equitable healthcare access, really, to me, that means that we advocate for culturally concordant healthcare. There are a lack of Black clinicians in this county. There's a lack of Latino clinicians in this county. There's a lack of folks that are available, especially for mental health. And it's entirely within our reach to at least raise awareness about it. And we don't. We just say, this is a problem. And then we tell the county, this is a problem. And then we tell the state, this is a problem. And then we get a representative like Shanika and tell her, this is a problem. She knows. We know. The state knows. The country knows, right? At least 40% of the country wants it. The To build unity across communities. The first meeting that we had, I invited Gabriel Rodriguez, director of Centro de Ayuda, and that's for the folks that might not be familiar. It's basically a resource to help immigrant community find help, for issues around immigration, for issues around health, all like a big umbrella, right? It's more than they can actually do. They're ambitious, but they've been doing it for a long time, and they've helped a lot of people. They help people with all kinds of issues that come up. And for folks that think that we have a very good sort of bilingual approach to healthcare and Department of Health and all that, that's really not a fair assessment. There's a lot of holes. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't get done unless an individual takes it on and independently and specifically. And that's what Centro de Ayuda does. But what Gabriel immediately shared was that when he went to the fire chief of this county with regard to how we can improve health, one of the things he pointed out was that the county is very focused currently on opioid mitigation. It's a universe of concepts behind that, but bottom line, it is an initiative that's funded by the state, that's well recognized, and it is where energies are being put. Possibly squeaky wheels involved with all sorts of other reasons for that, but notwithstanding, he felt that the Latin community is not being their concerns are really around alcoholism, and that's not being addressed. To hear that passion and to hear that feeling of lack of inclusion made me immediately sensitive to the idea, especially as a Black man who's Afro-Cuban, that there are things that fall between the cracks here, and that we don't know how people get alienated, and then they don't march with us, walk with us, stand with us at times of need.
Dr. Gomez, can I say your response to that, when he said that, he stated, alcoholism is addressed. We were talking about racial disparities or differences, not really disparities.
Yes.
We were just talking about differences in how addictions like opioids are addressed versus alcoholism. And it was like Black people get the opioid treatment, and Latinos are getting alcoholism related treatment. Right. And your response was, I can assure you, African Americans are also struggling with alcohol addiction. And I was like, that is such a true statement.
Yeah.
And it may show up differently within the community, or even like, as I learned from you about how it may be treated from a public health standpoint.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, like, your response to that was a really interesting, and it kind of conceptualized some things in my mind about the fight across communities, because in a separate conversation I had with someone, it was about how liquor store owners were seeing the Latino community react to this crackdown. And somebody was telling a story about their conversation with a liquor store owner, and that was giving them pause because less beers were being bought. And I was like, okay, I don't, but that was the relationship that was trying to be made. And like you said, when you're talking about African American people, it's the same thing.
Yep.
It's the same thing, But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, man. So anyway, so that's point two. To build unity across the community, I think across communities, I think practically helps us be able to stand together, and we have a bigger voice. We have a more credible voice. If we don't end up saying things like, well, the fire chief isn't really paying attention to our concerns. Well, we share concerns, and so that's what I mean by that. And then number three, implement targeted health education, and by that I mean practical things, right? And we'll get to that later on. But I want to connect the things that we always talk about with practical things that are within our reach to do. And so the actionable goals and leading by example is to organize wellness events like the Hike for Health on June the 7th, the Unity Hike. That's going to be at Quiet Waters. You may or may not have heard about yet. And another proposal that I put out there was to have a picnic where we try to get primary physicians to connect with the community. So I'll stop there. And I really want to go around and just get folks' thoughts on just that. and see if we can, glean some some useful things, and then maybe it'll lead to projects we should get involved in. Why don't we start with Sharon?
I really have, I'm caught a little off guard. I wasn't quite sure what this was about, to be honest. I will just listen for a while longer. I'm still unclear.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll jump in. This is Pete. Yeah, it's interesting when we had the opioid addiction crisis, which is kind of still ongoing over the last 8 years. One of the things we did as a county was we instituted safe stations, right, where you can go there and get treatment for it and not be sort of penalized. That wasn't the aim for the fire department to do that. We've hosted these forums or venues where folks could bring in needles and discard them in a safe way. And so I certainly think doing things specifically that's within our grasp to do is important. Otherwise, it just becomes another thing that we say we champion, but it never turns into anything that's a reality. So I think the things for minority communities is to find those types of events. You mentioned the barbecue. Black people like to go to barbecues, right? They just do. And so the fact that you mentioned that, I think that's a good thing to utilize, or picnic, I should say, to draw them in there, and then have access to these other things. I go to a breakfast meeting once a month at a restaurant. We have breakfast, and every other month they talk about. It's a men's breakfast, but they talk about prostate cancer, for example. And so, because sometimes we as men, we look at our symptoms and we struggle to go and seek help, thinking that it's a sign of weakness, but it's not. And so, unless we're around other men who are championing and saying no, don't, if you have prostate issues, you need to go get checked out, or if you're 40 plus, you need to go get checked out. So I think in this instance, having these events and having messengers who are credible to spread that knowledge is going to be important for us to make real inroads into the issue, and that's medical access for underserved communities, Black and brown communities, things like that, and finding those issues or those medical things that impact them in a great way, so that we can find solutions and then create a space or an event where you can both connect the people who need the help with the solution we've come up to help them. And so that's a good strategy to take at this point.
Well, thank you. I'll take it as a compliment. Let me tell you that, as you point out, the picnic and barbecue, the initial proposal that I floated by the folks on the committee, some of them are not present, unfortunately, is to specifically try to bring in vegan soul food, in inviting people in to do stuff that's familiar to them, but with a health angle, so that it immediately connects to, and in this case, it would be a Black business in Baltimore that I was thinking of. If we have other ones, nearer to us, we'll definitely take advantage of that.
I want to say something really quick. I was actually working at the fire department when the Safe Stations program went into place. And where we found that, it was our former fire chief, and his name is leaving me, at Allen something, I can't remember. But he actually got the idea from a fire chief in New Hampshire.
Graves, Chief Graves.
Chief Graves, thank you.
Great.
Thank you. You'd think I saw him for like every day for 8 years or something. You'd think I remember, but I didn't. But and so that was just a tremendously successful program. And one of the reasons it was so successful, and I don't know, is it still going on? And I know that, of course, our CERT team is part of this, but Wes Adams was the county prosecutor. And of course, Steve Shue was the county executive, but they both promised, and Wes Adams had promised not to prosecute and not to bring any charges of anybody who brought any paraphernalia, any drugs, any needles or anything. And that was really why this worked. And so when we talk about over-criminalization and just criminalization and across the board of people of color, I think in any kind of healthcare initiative, any kind of anything, that has to be part of the discussion. Not much to do on a picnic or a hike or something, but just overall, just thought I would share those thoughts.
No, but that's precisely the point, Sharon. So what you bring up is that, the hike is one thing, the picnic is another. This could be another. I'm thinking as you're speaking, a simple, like a gimme would be to have an informational session where we might provide, say, no alcohol beer or wine, and invite people in. So that, because honestly, one of the things that I find with regard to addiction in general is if you don't have a replacement, it doesn't work.
Right.
Like just
Right.
telling somebody, hey, quit smoking, quit using drugs,
Yeah.
quit drinking. It's not, it's a big ask to both give up the substance and the habit. So
Well, it's so social. It's so social
Right,
too.
exactly.
I enjoy a drink, and I ran into Pete at Harry Brown's. I mean, that's where all law is made, right? Pete is
Right.
up there at Harry Brown's bar. But I mean, seriously, right? But you know what would be a great idea, Ellie, is to do a mocktail cocktail hour, and people have different stations and they learn how to make different mocktails.
that's fine. That is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. That sounds great. And I think
That does sound fun, doesn't it?
I know. I want to try it.
Right.
yeah. All right. So
He froze up. Shoot.
Come back, Ellie.
Ellie, yeah, I can't hear you. I think you're frozen.
Ellie, you may have to go back out and come back in.
By the way, the Anne Arundel County Public Library did a mocktail session.
Oh, did they?
Yes, they did.
Oh, I love that.
It was for Valentine's Day, I think,
Oh,
which I thought was interesting. I would love to throw in here, there's a group called Diversify Whitewater. And Diversify Whitewater is a nonprofit that broke off from Team River Runner, which is an all-veteran group, to provide no-cost, regular and adaptive kayaking for all people of color.
mhm.
And what they do is they allow organizations around the nation to designate one day as a introduction to kayaking and supping, and they basically provide the funding for the whole deal. It has happened on the Potomac. Unfortunately, they opened up in 2020, or fortunately, right at the beginning of COVID. But because of COVID, they're just not getting the participation level. I do know that in Colorado, I attended one of their events, and we had nearly 100 people. And for 80% of them, it was their first time ever being on the water. Mm-hmm. So that was a huge reach. I do fundraising for World Class Grads, which is an African-American led education, the Kerwin report, to ensure that our K through 12 students here in Anne Arundel County are ready, for 21st century occupations, whether it's college, career, whatever their workforce development goals are, trade school, or direct into the workplace. And one of the things that we have stepped up into is the void within the marine and maritime industry of African Americans who have basically been shoved out of what was once their domain of expertise and replaced with white men, specifically, predominantly white-owned male businesses, and that now require very expensive certifications. Mm-hmm. And we are taking students, 4th through 12th grade students, and providing them with on-water kayaking, SUP, and sailing experience all the way to certification. Now, one of the funding tools that we're looking at, and this is where all of this blends in with the NAACP. I'm in the process of writing a grant to address the health and wellness needs of the African American community in Anne Arundel County based on gun violence trauma.
Mm.
And by the way, the Chesapeake Bay Trust just held an entire seminar on the health and wellness needs and the benefits of outdoor recreation. And Congress is also working on legislation along that way. And I don't want to monopolize this, but I want to say we know that there are healing effects for children being able to get access to the water, and not just standing there looking at that water, but getting out on the water, enjoying what all of us have the ability to enjoy. And one young man who was in 4th grade said, and I quote, after 2 hours of being out on the water, that it was the most freedom he had ever experienced.
That's awesome. Can you folks hear me now or no?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, so Carmen, that's precisely the type of program that Thornell's been involved in with young folks for years. What a great connection that would be, your grant and his work. So I'm going to invite you to come back to this meeting, which is first Tuesday, 6:30 p.m., first Tuesday of the month. And you're certainly invited to be a part of the committee. So that sounds.
Please join the AACP if you haven't already. Definitely.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing that we're trying to promote and do. So please be a part and assume that you could basically lead the charge on that particular project.
Well, thank you. It's an honor.
Yeah. And Brother Boone.
I am here.
Any thoughts you want to share with regard to things we might do to sort of practically connect the objectives and the vision and mission?
Awesome. Always about the vision and missions of everything, especially these days, even before these days, all about the vision and missions. So if the vision and mission has to do with positive outbursts of the community, I'm definitely for it. So if this is going to be a positive notion to the community and for a person and for a family and for a human being, I'm definitely for that. So hearing just the few expertise that's in this house right now, it could definitely work. Like I said, having a vision to do it and just do it. Be like Nike and just do it. Let's do it. You have a DJ in the house, say right here. So free of charge, I will kindly DJ. I DJ all diversity. That's not a problem. We could do that. All genre, we could do that. I do no profanity. That's where I lose my money. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm definitely there for what comes about and be happy to help spearhead.
All right, and Brother Waddy, you can connect Brother Boone to the event.
Yes.
All right, man, because that would be awesome. Given the couple of things that we've thrown out here, Sharon's thought about the mocktails and the things that we already have cooking, like the picnic concept, that'd be a perfect place to to overlap those things because the community vibes with it. Yeah, and if it's clean, the better. So let me quickly share the rest of the agenda thoughts that I wanted to sort of share with the group that I am trying to communicate through the committee in some way. It hasn't taken shape in terms of literature distribution or educational things specifically, but I want to teach people that are interested in learning about this is how to avoid the emergency room, how to avoid hospitalization, how to why it's important to do primary care, and that's my whole point. Going back to Pete's point about prostate specific antigen screening, I'd add colonoscopy as well.
Mhm.
Are two of the things that we miss most often in the Black and Latin communities, basically because it's a cost up front. And so folks are thinking, well, I'm not going to worry about that unless it touches me. And then by the time it touches you, it's way too late. And then it's catastrophically expensive. So,
Or deadly.
yeah, or deadly, lethal. So,
Yeah.
so that that angle, and so focusing on realistic ways, it's fairly easy to explain to folks this is a risk, but if they don't have a person that they trust, they are not going to do it. It's just it's behavior. It's just the way folks roll, especially when they have limited economy. They're gonna jump into the healthcare center. It seems like the easiest, least resistance is in an emergency department. It isn't. They take your data. They'll take your house. They don't care. And so you have to be sort of proactive in communicating to folks. It's not a free ride, not really. So that's one thing that I'd want to get across. The other things that I wanted to emphasize was that we can't just rely on the government to solve these things. Some programs work, some programs are supported, and then they just go away. They die. People leave. They end. The problem persists, right? Opiates haven't gotten better. The community isn't cured of addictions to things like alcoholism, and we struggle with mental health and under-resourced there. If we keep talking about how we're gonna change that, like whether or not the impetus to do so was noble, not a whole lot has changed in terms of mental health access in the county since the last election cycle for the county. There's a difference between what people can control, where their budgets are, make it available for them to have resources, make resources available, and then what is a hope, a want. And so that's my point. I'd like to figure out things that we can actually budget and do. The hike is free. The picnic would be low cost. Anything that we put into effect, we have to, understand that the resources of, the county branch NAACP is just, the budget is like nil. We have a tiny budget. And you know how you can check that? Go to the website, because we're trying to fix it. And I've been jumping up and down about that for a couple of months now. And
it's been 5 years. 5 years of jumping up and down.
Yeah, man, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
The few tweaks we made to it already improved it vastly. So there are things that can be done just like logistically. And in terms of bringing young people on board to help with it, I know for a fact, my kid knows folks that they manipulate a website a hell of a lot better than we can. They just do. They just have it in their, I don't know, it's in their how do I say, their ontogeny. It's not like their descendants. It's the fact that in their lifetime they have more exposure and understand this stuff better than we do. They can put an Instagram post on stuff that we do and get thousands of hits, and we are sitting here posting it on a static website calendar. No one knows about it. But if one of the kids in the community, I was hoping Adetola would jump in. I don't know if you folks know Tola, but he works at the mayor's office.
He's one of my favorite people.
Yeah, he works at the mayor's office in outreach. I'm trying to get him involved. And Rocio Smith, who also works in outreach more to the Latin community. And if those younger folks can connect with their younger folks and spread the word of some event like the hike, which I shared with them and they offered to help, those are things that'll like reach the kids. They'll reach the kids on the corner of Clay Street who are smoking pot on the weekend anyway. They're just not doing anything during the day. They're just waiting for the evening. Maybe they'll get up in the morning. So to see each other in that venue. And anybody has ideas on how to do that, please please share if you know a young person that has any connections like that.
I will tell you that what, really quick, I'm going to give you a quick update on the Florida. So the polls have closed. They've got almost 24% of the returns in. And Will, who is the blue, he's the Democrat, is leading by 53.2 by about 4,000 votes. Now it's still very early, but that's, I don't know what they're doing early voting, but that's just a little news because we really need those seats.
We sure do.
Something the D30 Club did. I was the president of the D30 Democratic Club on 2023. Yeah. And before that, when Scott McMullen was the president, we actually, with DeJuan Gay's help, we actually did an event at the housing there on Clay Street. I can't remember the name of that area particularly. I just know where it is as I live so close to it. But that would be an idea. Instead of so much quiet waters, do a hike there, but you could do a barbecue there if you want to attract younger people. There's a ton of kids in those communities and those homes, man. There's a bunch. And they're good kids too, by the way. And I've walked to school with them when the fire chief has been out. I mean, the police chief is out there doing that, and the mayor, and they're good families. So that would be something. And you know what? They may want a good mocktail, recipe and have some fellowship, so to speak.
So I'm going to jump in on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to just jump in and say there's also a park at the end of Clay Street with waterfront access, and that leads us right into College Creek, where you can kayak and sup safely because there's no powerboat traffic back there. And one of the things I know that world-class grads, by the way, world-class grads, as Ellie mentioned, is run by Thornell Jones and Richard Van Dyke, and there are two lead officers, and we are hoping to install a free, no-cost life jacket loaner at Clay Street Park, the water access park, and then also kayak racks with kayaks that people can use at no cost, with a cell phone checkout. So I would love to help, and we could get local stores to donate the food, the juices, etc., for something, a community street, let's just call it a street event.
That sounds awesome. I also want to throw out there, Chambers Park hosts a lot of different events that are essentially segregated unnecessarily, because I mean, a lot of people don't even know what the hell it is. The Brianna mural on the basketball court is the only time that folks have gotten sort of an awareness that the place even is, locatable. Anyway, that aside, I want to say, Carmen, definitely we're going to run this. Sharon, if you want to be a part of this, please bring that energy. None of this is owned. President Wadi doesn't own it. I don't own it. None of this is owned. This hike, it's not owned. The Unity hike is a concept. You feel free to steal it. On whatever level. I shared it with Sergio Polanco, who does outreach and is controller for the state of Maryland. And I'm hoping that this stuff engenders, their own collection of people to say, how do we do a similar thing, or how do we join you with our group? Any way that we can do that, translated into stuff actionable by other folks or other organizations or other entities like Pete with the council, more than happy. NAACP doesn't need to own it.
Sergio and I used to work together at Pittman's office, and we're still very good friends. I love that man so much. His whole family, as a matter of fact. And he would be a very, very good partner this. And don't forget, Adriana Lee, who's now with the governor's office, she formerly held Sergio's position at the comptroller's office. And then I think she was at the mayor's office before then. So she would be very good as pulling in any Hispanic communities as well, or maybe identifying some that we're not even aware of that we could reach out to.
Sharon, could you put your contact stuff in the chat so we can connect with these people, and President Wadi can reach out kind of formally from the NAACP. Does that sound good, Steve?
I'm writing it down in my notebook, definitely.
All right, good.
And Steve and I will join NAACP.
Awesome.
And I'm
Love it.
sorry I
Thank
haven't
you.
already.
Okay.
Likewise, President Wadi, I am filling out the application as we speak.
Great.
That's awesome. Listen, I don't want to keep people on too long. We've gone over the hour. There's a lot of good energy here and a lot of good thoughts. Anybody have closing thoughts they want to share? So you know we can stand for that.
Go, Corey. Woohoo. He's still going.
All right. So, you know, I think we covered good territory, and please keep June 7th and possibly July the 6th on your radar. We'd like everyone to show up, bring everybody possible. And until we figure out that there's a max capacity to show up at Quiet Waters with, you know, for free, which I don't think is going to happen, you know, please spread the word. And let's see how many people we can get to sign up. There is a link and there is a waiver. Just because we want to acknowledge that this is organized through NAACP, and we want to protect kind of the exposure. But other than that, the walk is not going to be challenging. It's going to be flat. It's going to be the path that's paved. A little bit of it is flat, sort of ground. It's very, very user friendly. It's only maximum 2 hours, probably take people like an hour. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have for now.
I just want to say I'd love to see over here on the west side. I live in Severn, so Pete's my council member, and
Yes.
we gotta figure something out, Pete, to compete with all these Annapolis area people.
Yeah, man. I know what I know, and you know all I know about Severn is the batting cages and my kid played travel ball up there. But I don't think that's gonna be that's not helpful
Pete,
for
we
this.
gotta teach her, man. Gotta teach her about Jessup and all of this over here.
Got a lot
I
of
used to
treasures
live
up
in
here.
32. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, now thank you all for showing, and please make a note on your calendar to please you know, join again next first of the month Tuesday at 6:30, same thing, and you know, bring people along. You know, the kind of interesting, the president, vice president, and secretary of our branch reached out and said, who should we have on this committee? I'm like, there's nobody we shouldn't have on this committee. Until we get too many people that we can't even hear each other, then that's a different problem. But right now we don't have that. So please, let's bring people that might be of help. Anybody, especially with any clinical information, social work people, mental health people, folks that are motivated to help in any of these capacities, please invite them.
Really quick, Stephen, do you know Candace Love?
No.
Yeah, so she's on our board, and she's a retired nurse practitioner. And speaking of the health side of this, and older African American woman, and she would probably lend her expertise or her help every once in a while. I could certainly reach out to her. She's wonderful.
Please.
Okay.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
All right, folks. With
Thanks.
that, Steve,
Carmen, good to see you again, everybody. Hello and goodbye.
And all of you, thank you. Bye.
Hey guys.
Bye.
So
Take
long.
care.
Take care now.